Student partnerships is a foundational element of the post-secondary education landscape, one that reflects the collaborative spirit, empowerment, and co-creation ethos essential for fostering inclusive and innovative academic environments and driving positive changes within post-secondary education.
We set out on a journey to explore the multifaceted ways in which student partnership is experienced and affected within academic spaces, especially in light of the new and diverse circumstances and experiences posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, accessible learning movements, and other similar social and cultural phenomena.
Through a collection of unique and compelling stories from individuals within the post-secondary education community, we aim to explore the changing student perspective and role in post-secondary education and shed light on how educators and administrators can better understand and adapt to these changes. Because as students and administrators in post-secondary education, each of us has the power to enact change and make positive impacts within our community.
My name is Mary Robinson. I use she, her pronouns. I currently hold the role of Associate Dean Outreach, Equity and Diversity for the Faculty of Engineering at the University of Waterloo, which is a lot of words, and it's a fun game to see how people rearrange them for me.
My name is Xavier Chimpangira. I am a fifth-year student athlete here at Mount Allison University, majoring in environmental studies with a dual minor in philosophy and geography.
Our initiative was to create a charity hockey event, raising equally for two different charities, the Canadian Cancer Society and Motion Ball for Special Olympics. We really had an overall goal of bringing together the St. FX community and pack the Keating Arena Center full of fans and bring the energy and ultimately raise as much money as we could for the two charities.
I'm a chemical engineering grad, so chemical engineering is my corner of the universe. My specific area is around food processing. So between my undergrad and grad studies, I went off to work and became a Mr. Christie's cookie engineer for a few years. I came back to grad school, started working in a lab, could do it but didn't love it, started teaching and realized working with students was really what I enjoyed. From there, I moved into a role as Associate Director of First Year Engineering and also a lecturer. So I taught a lot of first year chemistry to first year engineering students, but really started working more closely with students. And what I came to recognize was increasingly, and to our benefit, fewer and fewer engineering students look like me.
In the fall, I was awarded the Jules Alley Scholarship, which is a scholarship awarded to Black students on the men's soccer team. And from there, I was inspired. That inspiration resulted in me taking up a little bit more of a community engagement role, where I had became the vice president of the Black Student Union at the university. And essentially from there, I was able to build rapport with some of my peers and different members of faculty, where we kind of grew from there to establish those connections that led to the creation of the Black Student Athletes Union. During the fall semester, I had conducted a formal research project in the context of one of my courses concerning the Black student athlete experience on predominantly white university campuses, and I surveyed my peers to gain insight on the matter. The harsh reality is that stigmas, stereotypes, interpersonal and systemic discrimination were present in the results and backed by the contemporary literature. Subsequently, the necessity for a group like the Black Student Athlete Union was not a question of equality, but of equity, where this group of individuals who are subject to experiencing setbacks are given the attention and support they deserve. So just having received that scholarship, it almost sparked something in me where I figured I might as well give back to the community that I'm a part of, given that this scholarship was for Black athletes. And from there, I wanted to kind of give a voice to a community that is a little bit underrepresented and create positive change.
I think the kind of motive for starting it was seeing how fun and impactful a game like this, because it's been done at Queen's University and they have a very successful game where they sell out 5,000 tickets and fundraise hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is quite inspiring. So coming together for fun, but also super impactful. I think for us, we had two great charities that people could get behind. Canadian Cancer Society, which we focused on their Camp Good Times program, which sends children between 7 and 8 that have had cancer or have cancer to camp. And then Motion Ball for Special Olympics, which helps individuals that have disabilities take part in sport. And we have lots of local athletes that we work with here in Antigonish. So just seeing the joy that it brings them and being able to send kids to camp, I think it's a great cause that we could all get behind it.
Ever since COVID, there's kind of been lots of restrictions, and the school hasn't been nearly as together as it has in the past. So we kind of took it upon ourselves to kind of think of a fun, cool event that's also very impactful to host here at St. FX. And I'd say it kind of turned out to be a great success and really brought the community together.
I would say the biggest challenge that we're facing right now at the post-secondary level is really around resourcing. So whether it's financial resources, students, how things are funded, and funding decisions are made, I would say is probably one of the biggest challenges that we see. And of course, it ripples down into everything. One of the biggest line items for us in post-secondary is people. So the staff and the faculty to teach the courses. So making sure that people are well paid to be able to hold on to that expertise. We have, especially in engineering and emerging areas like AI, anybody who's halfway decent at their job gets scooped up by any sort of private company. So having the expertise in academia to be able to teach and train the next generation and to do the research, to ask the really tricky questions, to understand the impacts of rolling out this technology on the world, I would say that's one of the big challenges. So at the end of the day, the almighty dollar speaks most, and you've probably even seen it in your co-op work terms. The jobs that pay more attract the better students for the co-op positions, and the same thing happens in academia, which then trickles down to students. Where do the students go to get the best education? Where do you get the best education? And the people doing the amazing groundbreaking work, are they in the classroom? Are they being scooped up by different employers? Are they asking the really hard questions, or are they being held hostage by the golden handcuffs that we see? In engineering, we acknowledge that we have some challenges. So right now, Engineers Canada is partway through the 30 by 30 campaign, which you may have heard of. The goal speaks to 30% of the newly licensed engineers by 2030 will identify as women. So we're just looking very simply at the gender binary. The numbers vary across the country. Different provinces are doing different things. In Ontario, we've more or less stalled out around 21% for the last couple of years. And understanding why that is. Why don't women, so Waterloo Engineering, our undergrad population is on average 30+% identifying as women. It varies across the programs. Biomedical engineering has reached parity and is actually a little skewed in favor of women right now. But our last incoming class in September 2023, the lowest percentage was 25% in the mechatronics engineering class. So the women are there, they're entering engineering, they're studying everything. But why don't women go into practicing engineering, getting licensed as professional engineers? So there are a lot of really important questions there. But making sure the right people are asking those questions and are part of the conversation.
Definitely one of the most important challenges that are kind of happening right now is definitely just the cost of everything. Everything is so expensive, from tuition to groceries to rent. Everything is so expensive, and not everyone has the financial capability to meet these expenses. So that's definitely one challenge that people face. And especially even with our event, we kind of charged $15 tickets, and to ourselves, like, okay, yeah, everyone has $15, but is that even the case? I know St. FX in particular has lots of resources to help this, with Kevin's Corner and even kind of funds to help minimize housing costs, but it's still very expensive for students to kind of take on this financial burden.
Stigmas of all kinds, stereotypes, and cancel culture. I think those kinds of things disallow individuals to bring their true selves to the universities and their sports and academics.
I think my advice to students that want to create change or meaning in university, I think the biggest thing is finding others in the university community that kind of see your vision of, okay, this is a project that I want to do. I'm passionate about it for these reasons, and find someone that shares those passions and the visions, and maybe has a different set of strengths. I think when you come together with lots of people, it makes your impact so much more, exponentially more impactful. You're going to be able to twice as much, 3 times as much, 10 times as much. The event like Pucks for Purpose would not have come together if it was 1 or 2 people trying to run it. It was because we had so many people that were working towards the same goal. They saw the vision, and we worked together well. That an event like that can come to life. So I think it's finding others that are passionate.
Yeah, and as well as finding others who are passionate, it's about believing in yourself. In the early days, there were 20 of us, and we kind of believed in ourselves enough to make merchandise, hats, stickers. And when people who were not necessarily believing in us saw that we were so confident in ourselves that we could make merchandise and make tangible items, they saw that, okay, no matter what, at least they'll have a hoodie that says Pucks for Purpose, so it might as well happen.
I guess I would advise anyone who would want to create change to be mindful that change takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, right? That change doesn't happen alone. That it takes a community. It takes bridges. It takes a professional rapport between individuals who have the capability and the resources to create change. In my 5th year, I have the ability to look back and see things in retrospect. I can see that some things could have gone smoother, and if there was a Black student athlete group prior, I would have felt more included and had additional opportunities to speak up. So that kind of motivated me to support my peers and the people who will come after me.
Probably the greatest thing to come out of our Pucks for Purpose initiative was to see our vision through. We spent countless hours putting together this hockey game with a committee of over 25 people, but to see that through and then have the Xaverian community come in spirit, dress head to toe in either white or green, really bring the energy when we flipped around that check and it said $55,000 that we raised for charity, was something that we could only imagine. But to really see them buy into our own vision was something really special to us.
I think my advice is not just for administrators, it's for anybody, truly anybody, whether you're a first-year student or an administrator or a new faculty member or someone who's I've got 5 more years before I retire and what am I going to do? I think everybody in their role can see a pain point, whatever it might happen to be, whether it's a process that doesn't make sense or some sort of inequity, a policy that's just outright racist, sexist, ageist, ableist, whatever. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to see it or to acknowledge it. So one thing I would definitely say is building community. We need to talk to each other more than we do. And that's where I think some of the clubs and the social supports are good, but also need to open their doors a little bit. And at risk of creating problems, silence is violence. By not saying things, by not doing things, we are enabling the harms to keep going. And that's that bravery piece. Part of what this job brings with it is you need to be courageous. You need to be brave. So